Brian Walshe faced sentencing today for taking the life of his wife, Ana Walshe, back in January 2023. I want to go over a few highlights because the judge handed down these sentences so beautifully. I think every single word she said to Brian Walshe is exactly what he deserved to hear. So starting out with the improper disposal of Ana's body. Not only did he take her life, but he cut up her body and he disposed of her remains like trash. When the judge was discussing this, she described it as barbaric and incomprehensible. The court said the seriousness of that conduct could not be overstated. The judge also focused heavily on the impact that this will have on the 3 children that Ana and Brian had together. At the time of this crime, the boys were 2, 4, and 6 years old. They lost their mother and were robbed of the chance of ever saying goodbye to her because her body was never located. The harm, the court said, will last a lifetime. I don't know how 3 children go about dealing with the fact that their mother is gone, they didn't get to say goodbye, her remains were disposed like trash, and their father was the one responsible. I can only hope and pray that they are surrounded by support, love, and resources to deal with something that most of us cannot even begin to imagine. Another thing that the judge talked about were the lies that Brian Walshe told investigators after his wife, Ana Walshe, disappeared. Now, Brian knew he had already taken Ana's life. He had cut up her body. He had disposed of her remains like trash. But he concocted a story for investigators which led to a multi-agency response. The time, resources, and effort spent on trying to find Ana were for nothing because she was already gone. So those resources, that effort, that money could have been spent on cases that the victim was not already gone in, unbeknownst to them. Just absolutely sickening. The judge called that deception deliberate and manipulative, and she pointed to a long pattern of dishonest behavior, including Brian Walsh's prior federal fraud conviction. So those are just a few highlights. If you have the time, I would encourage you to go watch the full sentencing. It was not very long. It is very worth listening to. As far as the sentences, he got life without parole for the first-degree murder charge that he was found guilty by the jury on. And then for lying to the police, he will face 19 to 20 years. 20 years is the maximum. That will run consecutively. And then for improper disposal of a body, he will serve 2 to 3 years. 3 years is somehow the maximum, and that will also run consecutively. Now, if you don't know what consecutive means, that means one after the other. The alternative is concurrent, where all of the sentences run at the same time. Now, since he got life without parole, it is really just a statement, in my opinion, to make them consecutive, and it's a statement that I support. This man will never breathe fresh air again, and he doesn't deserve to, because Ana cannot. Those children will never smell fresh air with their mother again. Ana's mother will never be out in the fresh air with her daughter again. Brian Walshe got what he deserved. Let me know your thoughts, and most importantly, before we observe a moment of silence for Ana Walshe, I want to tell you one last thing that the judge said to Brian Walshe. You will live with the guilt and burden of Ana Walshe's death for the rest of your life. And yes, he sure will, in a prison cell. And I hope that Ana haunts him every single night. Rest in peace, Ana.